Sawadee ka. Hello everyone from oh my god, the hair is already not cooperating. Hi, from Thailand in quarantine. So I have a few things to chat with you all about. One is general updates about Thailand. Two is things that I have been reading, and three is artists that I've been listening to that you may all enjoy. So it's definitely a mishmash of things to chat about. So I will leave in the description box timestamps, and you can do with that what you will. But first, Thailand updates. Wow. So the process of getting here, and particularly the process of packing up nearly everything that we own, pretty much our entire life, and getting that into a long-term storage was a time. Let me tell you, what we ended up doing, we pretty much just packed what we could into, I was looking over here, into suitcases because, if we were to try to ship anything to Thailand, so expensive. Holy shiza. Now, just getting here, I did not film anything in the airports because I really could not be bothered. No pictures, nada. So just take my word for it when I say that it was weird to see, was it three airports that we were in, and they were all so empty. Normally airports are very full of people and just a lot of bustling around, so it was really strange and kind of eerie to see how it was kind of dystopian, I would say. Very strange. Speaking of airports, so the very first airport that we were in, the airport that we were in before we took our first flight, that made sense. We were there for 13 hours. That wasn't the first time that we've had, this was not a layover, but we have had a 13-hour layover before, and that's an experience. It wasn't actually too terrible because, I had my husband there to entertain me and things to read, things to listen to, so not too bad. It was fine. And then the first long flight, I think that was 13-hour flight, something like that. Did I sleep well on the plane? No, I did not. But that's pretty much because I never sleep well on planes. It is what it is. Moving along, so before even landing in Thailand, I had already been well aware of the fact that Thailand has been doing really well in handling the COVID situation. So to see that firsthand, and that happened when we first landed in the airport. Of course, everyone was obviously wearing masks, but in particular, the workers that had to be closer to us passengers, they were all decked out in protective gear. And without rambling on and on, I was very impressed with how things were being handled, even in just the airport, and how I felt they were very efficient in getting us from the plane, processing everyone, everyone get your bags, and then pretty much get out and get to the place that you need to be quarantined in. As well, when we were walking through the airport, we were passing through, lost my train of thought. I could see other gated seating areas, and all of the seats had either an X or a green O on it to indicate this is where you can sit and this is where you cannot sit. Just again, very impressed. Now, of course, at this point, I have only been to the airport and now in the hotel where we are being quarantined for 2 weeks. In any case, it's just very clear to me that everyone as a collective is just doing everything that they can to make sure that everyone is being safe and taken care of, and that's so nice. So speaking of quarantine, I don't think it will fully set in for me that I have moved to Thailand until we are out of it, because right now it just kind of feels like a limbo, for me at least. But limbo state or not, I cannot tell you how happy I am and how happy I am to be eating Thai food again. It fills me with great joy. Oh my god, what is this hair doing? Just calm thyself. So back in the States, my husband and I, we had kind of gotten into a bit of a rut in what we were eating. Just a lot of the same things, no more. The variety is just clearly when it comes to Thai food, it just makes me lose words. So there's that. But also speaking of the food, okay, so I had not been eating a ton of spicy food back in the States, so my tolerance for spicy food has gone down a little bit, which I'm a little bit bummed about. But however, I will say that I think that I can still tolerate at least a 3-star in Thai spice. My husband might argue maybe 2.5, but let me keep the 3 stars, dang it. Anywho's, so, there's a challenge for me right there, a worthy challenge. Bump up my tolerance for Thai spice, and I look forward to it. Yes. Backing up a little bit. Okay, so the very first night that we were here in the hotel, I passed out for probably a solid 11 hours. Seriously, I think I fell asleep around like 7:20 p.m. I did not wake up until about 6:30 a.m. because the 3 previous nights, and of course this includes the long flight on the plane, did not sleep well at all, so I was desperately needing to catch up on that sleep, and I have been. I think the only other thing that I can really say about being in quarantine, two things. One, I am finally able to catch up on, get back into exercising regularly, because the week and a half to 2 weeks leading up to this big move, moving the table a little bit, I did not have the time nor the space to do so, and now I do, so I'm very jazzed about that. And the last thing that I could even say is the view out of our hotel. I'm pretty sure I can at least spot like where is Waldo 4 temples, so big indicator that we are indeed in Thailand. Oh, and specifically we are in Bangkok, or to all Thai people, Krungthep. They don't call it Bangkok. That's a foreign thing. Anywho's, okay. Let's move on to reading things. Okay. So the entire month of October, I read a singular book, and that singular book was a memoir called Naturally Tan by Tan France. Anything else that I have been reading has been nothing but fan fiction. What else is new? But more on that later. So, Naturally Tan. It's a memoir. I also read that in ebook form, and I learned that I definitely prefer reading physical books over ebooks. So there's that. Anywho's, the memoir, I enjoyed it. I had actually first started reading the memoir before I had ever seen a singular episode of Queer Eye, the show that Tan France is in. But by the time I had finished reading the book, I had at least finished watching the first season of Queer Eye. And by the way, that show is so wholesome, it is uplifting, it is so positive. 10/10. Would recommend. Y'all should watch it. And, definitely watching at least some of the show certainly helped give context to things that were happening within the memoir. Who would have thunk it? I would definitely say this memoir, it's a blend of being a memoir, but also there was a large sprinkling of styling and fashion advice, which makes sense considering Tan's profession. But a part of me, it does kind of wonder if perhaps Tan should have written a separate book on styling. But at the same time, I do think he made it work within this book, because I think most of the styling advice that he gave, it went hand in hand with stories and anecdotes. So yeah, I think he made it work. I definitely enjoyed the pacing of the book. It was overall generally fairly quick. He made me laugh many times. I got misty-eyed several times reading this book. I don't think that Tan shied away from some deeper topics, although I don't think he went particularly deep, like as deep as he could have gone with some of the topics. It didn't bother me. I was fine with it, because the way I viewed it is, I don't think the goal of this book was for Tan to go particularly deep into, things like racism and the racism that he has faced all throughout his life. I think Tan just wanted to give us, the readers, a clearer and sharper idea of who he is, just kind of based on what we have learned about him through the show Queer Eye, if that makes sense. I recommend this. I think this is probably really only meant for people who want to learn more about Tan France, but I don't know. If in general it appeals to you, then go right ahead. So, moving on. Whilst in quarantine, beyond reading more fan fiction, I plan on reading these two wonderful books right here. Let's see, can we get this in a frame? Woo! Arabic love poems by, and oh my gosh, I do apologize for my pronunciation, Nizar Qabbani. Very much looking forward to this, especially since I'm not a poetry reader, so I have kind of high hopes for you, sir. Just saying. Okay. And the next thing is, boom, the graphic novel of The Old Guard by Rucka. And I think there's somebody outside the door. It might be time for a temperature check. We have temperature checks twice a day. I'm gonna keep going though. So that's what I plan on reading, and I do hope that at some point I'd actually really love to do a comparison of the graphic novel to the movie adaptation. I think that would be a lot of fun. So, things to look forward to. What was I gonna talk about? Ah, yes, fanfiction. Okay, so while reading fanfiction is absolutely nothing new for me, what I have been reading a crap ton of is fanfiction for The Old Guard, and more specifically, about 99% of the stories I've been reading has been solely focused on Joe and Nikki, because those two are living rent-free in my mind, body and soul and heart. Yes, please. So I just feel like it is my civic and moral duty to at least share with you 3 fanfiction authors, although there are definitely more, at least 3 authors that, and I think I'm shaking the camera, excitement, that you should check out. There we go, this is going so well. Okay, so the first author that I have been absolutely loving is Draco Solicitous. Their name will be on screen. If you love some good angst but with a happy ending, this author is for you, and I kind of want to emphasize the happy ending, because if I'm going to read angst, I want me a happy conclusion. Thank you and good night, but not good night yet, because we got to talk about some other authors. The second author is The King's Lover. Now, 99% of the time they write very short, what we call ficlets, us folk who read fan fiction. Does anybody else use that term? I don't know. We're going to continue on. Even when they write like 500-word little ficlets, it feels like those 500 words have been plucked out of a full-length novel, if that makes sense. And just a lot of heartwarming material and stories that they write. They're very comforting for me. They're like one of my comfort authors, yeah? And the third author is Aphrodite's Tummy Rolls. Banging name, I love it. Okay, one of my absolute favorite authors for the Old Guard fandom. The way that they capture the love and devotion between Joe and Nikki, their centuries-long love and devotion, it makes me want to roll into the sun in the best of ways. Absolutely beautiful writing. I'm having a moment. Do check them all out. All of their links will, of course, be down below in the description box. You're welcome. Moving on to the last order of business. I don't know what this was. A couple of artists that I've been listening to recently that I've been enjoying, and perhaps some of you can enjoy. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think his first name is Saad. Name on screen. He's a Moroccan artist, and the best way I can describe his music is mainstream pop mixed with some traditional elements, really depending on the music. I'm kind of garbage at describing music, so bear with me on that. He's got a lot of upbeat songs that I just really enjoy listening to, and it gives me energy, yeah? 3 of the songs in particular that I've been just listening to pretty much on repeat is, if I'm even pronouncing this correct, Galtana, Malim, which I actually think that means boss, maybe, and Selena. And the second artist, or artists really, because it's a group, it's a band, they are called, oh my gosh, I think this is how you pronounce it, Mashru Leila. They are an indie group. They are based in Beirut. And now this quote, it comes directly from their YouTube About page. Quote, Their rousing, sensual electropop anthems about political freedoms, LGBT rights, race, religion, and modern Arabic identity have challenged the status quo of the Middle Eastern pop industry. Fantastic. Their music is just, it's very moving, even though I understand nothing of it, but it's a whole sound and vibe. You feel me? It's all a good time. So for good times on all around, on those particular artists, that's a lot of hand gestures. Check them out down below. Cool? Cool. I think that is all I have for you today. Ooh, let me know in the comments down below just one thing that you have been really enjoying lately, whether that is a song, a movie, a book, a snack, the weather, anything really. Let's just share some positivity, shall we? And okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please take care, everyone, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.